Oh, hello. Hey, Val, how you doing? Hey, Jan B, how good morning. Just want to. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. So just want to make sure that you guys can see me okay. You can hear me all right. Whether you're on TradingView or on YouTube, do let me know. Thank you, BL. Good to be back. Hey, Spiros, how are you doing? Let me know. Did you guys miss me? And I'm asking for a little bit too much. Did you guys miss me? Hope we all have been trading well. Market has been trending very nicely over the last couple of weeks. I'm a little bit under the weather again. Fantastic. Thanks for that, Val. Good morning, Ayakami. How are you doing? Good to see you. Thank you. As usual, we'll give it a couple of minutes before we get started. Hey, you guys did brilliantly. Big high five to everyone on the Discord channel. You guys did brilliantly with the discussions, with the content, with the sharing. So big thumbs up to all of you. Hey, Ola, how are you doing? Big wave, and high five to Robbie as well. You can see I'm smiling. I'm smiling, so I'm super happy to be back. It seems like let me know if the chat is working on TradingView as well for you guys on TradingView. We'll get started in 2 minutes. And again, the Discord channel is there. If you guys have not joined already, link is there. Good morning, Tembi. How are you doing? Give it one more minute and we shall get going. It's been a while. What was the best trade you guys got onto? Let me know. What was the best trade over the last couple of weeks that you guys got onto? One more minute and we'll get going. Hey Jamil, how are you doing? Good morning, good to see you. It's good morning from Italy. Good morning. Good to see everyone back. It seems like it's good morning to everyone. I'm well into the afternoon. Daily market analysis is what we're doing today. Shall we get started? Let me know if you're here. If you're ready, let's get started. Alrighty. So let's keep going. All right, so it's been a long time, couple of weeks. We took a bit of a break. I was planning to do the daily market analysis while I was away, but it just became too hard. I was moving all, I was all over the place, setting up different time zones, different locations I was at. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to do the daily market analysis with you guys, but I'm very happy to have seen that you guys were making full use of the trading community that we have, sharing good ideas, chatting away, warning each other of possible pitfalls in the markets, and keeping up to date with what's happening all around the world. So very good job there. For those of you who are watching, and if you're new to the session, big welcome. And big welcome back for all the regulars. The link is there. If you haven't already, do join the Discord channel. It is growing. It is a great community to be in. It is free to join. So make sure you click on the link and join up. So what we do here on the daily market analysis is that we look at the fundamentals, look at the possible news events, we look at the technicals, where price is, where price could head towards, and then some possible trade setups. Okay, so today's session will be a little bit different, and it might actually be quite beneficial sharing with you this approach that you can take upon when you look at the markets, right? So it's been a couple of weeks since I looked at, it's been a couple of weeks since I really focused onto the markets and really look at the charts. So what I've actually done is I've gone in, I have cleared off I'll show you later, I've cleared off all the lines. I've almost reset everything, just so that I'm starting fresh. And then we'll do the analysis together from today onwards, all right? So a lot of times I have questions from people like yourselves asking, how far back should we look in terms of news and technical levels? This would be a good example where we're looking at it as right now. So fundamentals wise, I'll probably be looking at today. I'll probably look into last week, just a quick recap of what happened recently, but I'll focus more on today and what could be coming up tomorrow. Then the technicals will be looking at support resistance levels together. Good to see you here, Buba. So what I'll be looking at, Buba has been asking about how to do support resistance lines and levels. So what I'll be doing is we'll be going through that together just to refresh our levels, right? Because lines that you've drawn a week, 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, if you don't even look at your charts, might not be relevant, or it might still be relevant, but you might not have the confidence in those lines anymore. So good idea is to probably reset the whole thing and then redraw the lines again, just to make sure you keep your lines relevant. Then with that, we look for some possible trade setups. The common issue that most people would face is, or most people would try to jump on, is that, oh, I haven't been trading for that long, or I'm new to trading, I want to rush into trades, right? The trade setup part is going to be crucial. Typically for myself, if I go away, and I do this quite often, right? I always disappear, or don't look at the markets for a couple of weeks. I just go off doing other stuff. When I come back into it, then I do take that 1 or 2 days just to be extra careful in terms of setups, usually to monitor the markets, usually to see how price moves before I do jump into a trade, right? So trying to resist that urge to rush into a trade immediately because you think that you must catch up for lost time. What you could actually be looking at is understanding the market, seeing how things are forming up before you do jump into a trade again. All right. Hey, Kelvin, good to see you. Thank you. And hey, Edmar, Lewis, good to have you with us. Good morning, Goju. How are you doing? And hi, Beatty. Good to see. Okay, so as usual, a quick disclaimer. Any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Please do your own due diligence, because the contents of this webinar is not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, and your objectives, financial situation, and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. All right. So again, if you are new to the session, and the regulars already know the drill, if you have any trading related questions at any point in time, please feel free, put it into the chat wherever you are joining us from. Put it into the chat, let me know. I'll be happy to address your questions. elaborate further on any currency pairs that you are looking at, share with you my points of view or any other uh, instruments that you're trading. Okay, so with that, I feel so new. I feel so new to this whole thing. Right, it's been that long that it feels new again. So this is the dollar index. Before we get into dollar index, let's look at the news. All right, so today you'd see that nothing much, as no big news events to worry about at this point. What I did at the start of the day, right, when I came into the office, I sat down, I didn't fire up my MT4 straight away, right? I didn't fire up my trading platform straight away. Instead, what I did was that I did go into my Forex factory. I looked into what's coming up. Okay, so I did a quick overview. I went, okay, nothing much today. So I'm not tempted or I'm not likely to rush into any trades today. But I do note that we do have the Canadian CPI numbers to be released, right? I'm not even looking at the number. I'm just looking at what to pay attention to for now. So I'm looking at Canadian CPI tomorrow. So US CAD might be interesting later today or into tomorrow. And then we do have consumer confidence, not too concerned about that. We do have the Aussie CPI year on year on Wednesday. So I'll be paying a little bit of attention to that tomorrow. And then this actually piqued my interest here, right? So on Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, we do have Bank of England Governor Bailey speaking. We do have ECB President Lagarde speaking, BOJ Governor Ueda speaking, and also Fed Chair Powell speaking at the same time at the same event, which is the panel discussion titled The Policy Panel at the ECB Forum on Central Banking in Sintra. I have no idea where Sintra is, but given that it is a policy panel at the ECB Forum with the 1, 2, 3, 4 major central bankers speaking, I am looking at this as a potentially volatile event. Right, a potentially volatile event that could see prices spike quite significantly. So that's something I'm going to be watching out for on Wednesday evening. On to Thursday, we do have CPI for the Germans, the Spanish, not much else, and then the GDP for the US, unemployment claims for the US, that's a weekly number, and then on to Canadian GDP and core PCE price index on Friday before we head into the 1st of July. Okay, so I'm just looking at this and I'm gathering some ideas where today is definitely going to be quiet. Today is definitely going to be relatively quiet. A little bit of activity onto the CAD on Tuesday with more volatility with the ECB forum, with all the central bankers speaking, and then after that might slow down a little bit again. So that's how I plan, my trading activity as I head into the markets after a short break. With that, then I look into a bit of a review of what happened. Right, do a bit of a review of what has happened. I know a lot of it has happened over the last couple of weeks, especially this, right? Especially the Bank of England with a relatively surprising, or not relatively, a massively surprising rate hike from 4.5% to 5%, a 50 basis point rate hike from the Bank of England. We did see a reaction. Show you the reaction there. That's the 22nd of June. Where was it? There. All right there. So at that point, right, saw it spike up before coming back down and still consolidating along that 1.27, almost 1.2740 level. All right, so we saw, despite a big rate hike, it didn't see a massive push in the pound dollar, right? Ultimately, because what's happening is that now the market is getting more concerned. Most central banks or most major economies are talking and thinking about pivoting and slowing down rates, um, or even just pausing for a little bit. But yet the Bank of England has been quite aggressive, or still continuing with its aggressive push towards that 50 basis point rate hike. Big spike up, concerns over mortgage rates, concerns over the cost of living in the UK, causing the pound dollar to spike up but trade back down again. So with that, a little bit, a 25 basis point rate hike from the S&P, still seeing their rate hikes come around. And then also into the previous week. So I'll just do a quick recap of what we've seen so far. A US CPI at 4%, so that continual drop, right, from 4.9 to 4%. Feds keeping it at 5.25%, so no rate hike from the Feds. With that said, right, there is talk that the Feds could continue raising rates into the next meeting, but something to consider a bit later on. Then the ECB 25 basis point rate hike, they have slowed down, since they have continued to slow down since the last time, 25 basis point in May, and again in June, not doing that 50 basis point rate hike. And the Bank of Japan continuing on, no big surprises there. All right, and also I'm sure the last one I was sharing with you guys, the link on the write-up that I did for the Aussie, where they took rates from 3.85 to 4.1%. Okay, so with all that said, now looking back at what could happen, this just came up, put in faces historic threat to crypto. Nah, that's fine. So with all that, ultimately, no big surprises coming up. We should be looking at some trending scenarios. So now looking at the dollar index. Hey, no Rhapsody. Well, welcome back. Thank you very much. Okay, so what we've seen on the dollar index since we had the pause was that it reached that, 1st of June, end of May, it was at 104.70, big drop, came all the way down, right? So it's been trending quite nicely to the downside on the dollar index, all the way down towards 102. All right, so for those of you guys who are looking at how to do your support and resistance levels, right, immediately I'm looking at 102 as a level. 102 as a level that I'll be looking at there. Okay, support level. That's my support for gold. That away. This is getting in the way. Okay, and then why I have this as a support level is really just because of that recent low and that round number level. Then what I'll do is with that, I will drag it right across to look for that low point, which is just below 102. So 101.94, right? I'm identifying this point here, right? And also this point here. Okay, so I look at that as the lowest point of the support level. And then also I will look at 102, or rather that point there. And I'll consider this whole thing as an area, right? So that's really my support area, which I will consider as the base, as the floor. Why would the pound dollar spike up if there was concern about mortgage rates? I do not understand why it would not spike down since it was negative news. Okay, so just as a digression first, why the pound dollar spiked up why it spiked up is really because, and if I show it to you on the M15 time frame, so very good question there. Okay, show it to you on the let me try M5. Okay, there you go. Okay, so you can see that when the news, so good question there, Val. So you can see that when the news came out, the pound dollar shot up, right? It shot. Let me just check the timing on that. 7 p.m. Okay, correct. So when the news came out, it shot straight up, right? From pretty much from 1.2782 straight up to 1.2841, right? First reaction, what everyone sees is UK, the Bank of England, just increased rates by 50 basis points. Typically, when you increase rates by 50 basis points, that should theoretically cause a increase in demand for the currency. The first reaction is that great, 50 basis point rate hike should be an increase of demand. That's why we saw the pound dollar spike up. Okay, so to answer your question, the first line why it shot up is because of that 50 basis point rate hike. Theoretically, it should cause price to shoot up. Then I know it's not the reason for that, but because it was outside the Bollinger Band, especially the H1 time frame as well, later I'll show you, it came straight back in, right? So once that first reaction, people who might not be in the know or might not understand it fully go, oh, 50 basis point rate hike, great, but currency should strengthen. But it shot up and then it came straight back down because the concerns about mortgage rates, the concerns about economic performance and viability comes back into play, and that's why we see it retrace and come straight back down again. Okay, so you look at on M15 on the 22nd, you can see again, big spike out, tried to continue up before, no, that's not it, this one, right, spiked out outside of the Bollinger before coming back in again, and also on the H1 time frame, big spike out way outside Bollinger before it came back in again. Okay, so first reaction is usually, especially given that it's a surprise, right? Given that it was a surprise rate hike of 50 basis points, first reaction is going to follow the theory that it's, or theory of what it's expected to do, right? Which is that big push to the upside. If it did get released in the other scenario, if it did get released at 4.75%, so 25 basis point rate hike, then we might not see that push up, right? We might not see that push up because in the lead up to the news event, we already saw the pound dollar climbing. It actually came to a near-term resistance there. So as it was coming in, they were pricing in a 25 basis point rate high. The price came out, we saw this push. If there was only a 25, then it probably push up a little bit before coming back down again. Okay, so hope I answered your question there, Val. On the pound and the rate hike. What am I doing next? Okay. Fantastic. Customized indicators. Yeah, we'll get to that. Okay. So coming back to the dollar index again, looking at the support resistance levels. So that's my support level. Okay. Do think about support levels not as just one line, but as an area, right? As an area that you want to consider. It might not have to be that narrow. You could even be looking at your support at about 1.102.10, at about there, considering those points. So as it comes into this area, I'll consider that as my support. Right, but there's support, Once it comes close, I'll stop, I'll wait to see what happens to the dollar index. So I'll take that away for now, knowing that only if it breaks below 101.90, then I would consider that we're going to see further downside onto the dollar index, with the next major level at about 101, right? So that's my next support level there, because of these points here, with forming an area 100.80. So I'll consider this whole thing relatively wide, but I'll consider that as a support area. Okay, so that away, then that away. Okay, so I'm looking to say how I look at this. If dollar index does break that support, it might come down to the next support level down there at 101. By the way, with the way I'm going into drawing lines, this session might go a little bit longer than expected, so do stay on. So looking at the resistance level, I'll be looking at this point here. Okay, so why this point and not here is because I am looking at this area, I am looking at that level there as a resistance. I could even be considering all the way down to this point here. So I'll consider this whole thing as my resistance area. Okay, so that's my resistance level there to the upside at about 103.39 or 103.40. So take that away. Now let me just put this that away. Okay, so I'll be looking to say, okay, if the dollar index does push and break above 103.40, then we're going to see further upside to about that 104.70 level as next resistance level. So we have, our immediate support, we have our immediate resistance, and then we have the next support and next resistance level. Then how I look at this is that the dollar index has been trending to the downside, right? It's been trending to the downside. Why the chart looks a bit funny. I will get to gold shortly. Bear with me, going through the list here. So the dollar index has been trending to the downside. What we are looking for is an interim level at this point, right? You can see that on the 15th of June, it came here, it hit, bounced back up. Then on the 21st and the 21st of June, it resisted and then turned back down again. So I'll make this a dotted line. And now it's at that point, at that 102.60 or .70 level, it looks like it's trying to break. So how I look at this is that if the dollar index, because there's no big news happening, there's no reason that we're going to see any correction in the dollar index. What I'm looking for is if price does break below this 102.60 or .70 level, let's say if it breaks below 102.60, I'll put that there, and say if it breaks below 102.60, then we could see further downside towards that 101.90 or 102 level. Okay, so that's how I would come across or develop my thought process on ideas on a dollar index. All right, so dollar index below 102.60 could trade down to 102 support level. Okay, so we're looking at potentially some weakness into the dollar index if it doesn't break, then we might see it bounce back up. But I think with the overall scenario or overall trend, we might see that continue to the downside. All good so far? Fair enough. Let me know if it's good. Makes sense. And hey, if you are on TradingView and or on YouTube, do help me out. Click that like, click that subscribe button. Let's get more people onto this session as well. That would help me out massively. Good, thank you, BL. So with that, then we look at the Kiwi dollar. Very interestingly, we saw that big drop before pushing back up, right? So while I was just then, if you notice, I was checking out the Aussie because I was looking for it to break, hasn't done that yet. So let's look at the Kiwi dollar. Again, big resistance at the top there at 0.6240, right? Big resistance there. 4.5 would be fine. Big support, light support here. Now drag it right across to find a support there at 0.6127. Okay, so if you notice, Kiwi dollar has been pushing to the upside. We do have a little bit of that support level, that trend line to the upside, providing the additional support. So it actually fits along with the dollar expectation for dollar weakness, right? If we see the dollar does weaken, break that 102.60 level and trade to the downside, dollar weakness is going to drive the Kiwi dollar back up, right? So I found a support on Friday at 0.613, about 0.6130, bounce back up. Today retrace back down quite close to that trend line. Now looking like it's going to push back up again. With that, just checking this, right? So it hit that 50% level before retracing back down again. At this point, take that away. I'll be looking at the Kiwi dollar and think that, all right, I like this. Check the dollar index. It looks like it's pushing back up a little bit. What I'm looking for, what I would be looking for here on the Kiwi dollar would possibly be it to consolidate. But I'm looking for another test and rebound again. Right, looking for it to come back down, test support level one more time before trading to the upside. So as a trade idea, possibly buying opportunity 6140, look for it to bounce off before looking to buy up. 6140, stop loss 20 to 30, 25 pips, stop loss, take profit. I wouldn't go all the way up. I don't see a reason why it should be moving that 100 pips to the upside, right? Especially after going through the news. No big news for the Kiwi dollar. So I think that you could be looking at a maximum of 80 pips. Right? A maximum of 80 pips, especially if it comes down, bounces off, and push up, then you could see that trade to the upside. Right, and this is a very good trade. It's 1-3 to the upside on the Kiwi dollar, supported by the recent upward move or the recent uptrend, the upward trend line, the support level at 61, almost 6130, a test and a bounce. Okay, so 6140, 25 pip, stop loss. 80 pip take profit. You could close out possibly even at 50 pips as well. Could be looking at a 50, at best 80 pips. So Kiwi dollar, 0.6140. Oh, 5, 0.6140. Stop loss 25. Take profit 80. Consider closing around watch at 50 pips, right? So why I say watch at 50 pips, I'll put in the price there. It's also because that comes close to that 61.8 retracement level, and it's also just slightly below that 0.62 round number resistance, right? So I'm looking at that point there. So 6190. Watch at 0.619. Okay. And as usual, if you're new to the session, I will post this summary sheet up towards the end of the session, just so that you guys have something to refer to after that. That away. So these levels still make sense. Then looking at the Aussie dollar, right? I was looking at this big upward move, right? Aussie dollar pretty much on the 1st of June was at 6458, climbed pretty much upside, right? To as high as 69, almost 0.69, before turning back down, broke that trend line, and then now continued to the downside. Okay, why I was watching this is because it was in that consolidation, right, along that 50% level. I'm looking for it to break out of that consolidation to the downside. But before all that, let's look at some possible support resistance levels. So I'm not looking at putting something here because it's just a little bit too far away. For sure, I want this level, right? Because we do have 66. I want the 61.8 level. Test. I'll put this as my immediate support. Then my resistance would be about this point here. Resistance because of this level here, this points, and then this points here, right? So it tested 1, 2, 3 times before breaking to the downside. If I extended this right across, you can see that 0.6756 was tested 14th of June, 15th of June, and then 20 something finally broke, and we're going to see further downside. Hey Rick, it's fun. Good to see you from NYC. Very nice. Thank you for joining us. Hey Farouk, good to see you as well. Good to see you guys. Quite a number of new people. So hey, if you haven't already, the link is there. Do join the Discord channel as well and take our discussions beyond this session. So what I'm looking at now on the Aussie dollar, as I was saying, is that it has that consolidation right along that 50% retracement level, looking for it to break, which might happen quite soon. Short-term trade will be, if it breaks, look for it to close, and then you could be looking to sell down. This could be a short-term trade. Take profit 30 pips, stop loss very tight, maybe 30, right? A 1:1 to the downside, especially as it breaks below that, breaks out of that consolidation. So you could see a 1:1 to the downside, but a bigger move will be for it to break this consolidation, trade down to that 0.6630 support level, and especially if it breaks that 61.8 retracement level, then you could see it trade down towards the next key level at this point here, right? at 6552 or 6550. So what I'll be looking for, a lot of patience here. You could do a short-term trade on the Aussie to trade down to the support, watch it very closely, breaks out the consolidation, trade down. Could be looking for this move. But what I would better suggest is to look for a selling opportunity. This is on the flip side, right? As much as we're expecting the dollar to weaken, if it doesn't, then you could be looking for this to trade down. 6620. Take profit about 60 pips. Stop loss can be very tight at about 20, even at 20 pips would be reasonable. So we have seen it drop from 6670, goes all the way down to 6620. 50 pip move, you'll be looking for that momentum to continue and for the downside to push it. Okay. Do I think that it could retrace? That's why we have it at that support level. Because one thing I'm also watching is that we could have this here, right? That top forming along, so that bearish trend line. We might even see the Aussie dollar come down, test, and come back up again. Okay, so there might be an opportunity, maybe into tomorrow, but if not, the momentum coming down could break that support and trade down. Okay, so multiple opportunities there. 6620, 20 pip stop loss, 60 pip take profit. So on the flip side, you could be looking at selling the Aussie at 0.6620, stop loss 20, take profit 60 pips. Fair enough. Good. Then looking at the US yen. Right, I told you guys I had a trade running and my yen closed out. I can't remember where it closed out. I'll check it and I'll let you guys on the Discord channel know. I did have a trade, long-term trade running. I just let it go up. I think it closed out at about I can't remember. I'll share with you guys later. US yen. One headline that you should be looking at that's a little bit interesting is that the yen is likely to strengthen over the next 3 to 12 months, right? I haven't looked into that yet. I don't know why they were saying that, or they're putting out that headline. Says will respond to FX moves or excessives. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. There you go. The move become too excessive. Fluctuate steady in line with fundamentals. Won't rule out any options when asked about intervention. Focus on FX moves rather than levels. Okay. So what I'm looking at here on the US yen, I'll go to the H4 time frame just to show you guys something. Is that last time, right? The yen got up to that major level at 151, almost 152. We saw a big push back down, almost an intervention that pushed to the downside. And then I did a lot of posting about the BOJ interventions on my trading view, so do check that out. So we are back at that 144 level. Okay, I'll be looking at that as a major resistance. I put that as a major resistance, very close to that 144. Check my lines. A trend line would not work very well here. Right, you would have multiple different trend lines here. We're looking at that. Okay. And then we'll have a big support level. This is very far away, but this is a support level here at 138.70. I would have another level here right? Why this level here is because of those testing those recent highs, that point there. So I'll consider 141 as a good support level as well. So with that, now if I did a move to the upside, that check some levels here. Okay, you can see this point here. So I'm looking for, what I'll be looking for is if the US yen does break below this 142.80 level, 23.6 Fibonacci retracement level. If it does break down, could be breaking below that trend line as well. We could see it trade down to that 50% level, where we've seen a lot of moves, right? We've seen a lot of bottoms here forming. So what you could be looking for here on the US yen is if it breaks down, we could see it trade down to 141.60, or, and it comes very close to that 141 support level, which coincides with that 61.8 retracement level as well. Okay, and that's also because we're following on with that headline that the yen could strengthen overall. And if the dollar index does push to the downside, that's going to support the yen pushing down. So what I would be looking for here would possibly be selling opportunities 142, below 142.60. Stop loss, I would say that 40 pips. This is a little bit wide in terms of a stop because we wanted to break that level. And take profit could be down to 100 or even 150 to the downside. This will make it a little bit of a medium-term trade, but if you're looking at it as a shorter-term trade, down to that 50% level at about 100 pips. Okay, so break that trend line, break below 23.6 retracement level, you could see this trade down. So 142.60, 40 pips stop loss, 100 pip take profit. Looking to sell this down from 142.60, stop loss about 40 pips, take profit about 100 pips. Okay, all good, fair enough. Quite a number of you on TradingView, so do help me out. Click that little rocket ship button if you're enjoying the information that we're sharing here. And I know you guys, I can't see the likes on YouTube. I'm streaming through something else, so I'm sure you guys are doing that for me already. So that's the US yen. If it comes down and bounces off this level, 144 is going to provide that strong resistance. Beyond 144, we would have 140, we would have this previous point there, which is 146.50. Wait, maybe this point here, 145. Immediate level will be 145.20, but you could be looking at about 146.50 as the next resistance level. Okay, so back to the H1 time frame, that's what we'll be looking at on the US yen. Okay. Hope I still got everyone tuned in. Hope it's all making sense to you guys. As I told you, gonna take a little bit more than an hour today. With the pound dollar, again, big resistance here, which we saw on the 16th of June, tested 1.2850, about 1.2850. Came very close again on the 22nd because of the Bank of England rate hike before turning back down. I would be looking at a support level. That's my resistance. Support level, very immediate level here at 1.2690, right? Just formed by this couple of points, especially this one back there. 1.2695, you can say, as a support. Right now, looking like it's bouncing back up. So, if we do see that dollar weakness, we could see this push back up. Near-term level, I would say that I wouldn't be looking to buy it up unless it breaks above. I wouldn't. I was tempted to say that I wouldn't be looking to buy the pound up, but it is on a big uptrend. We are anticipating that dollar weakness to come around. So I would say that 2770, 2750. If you're a little bit aggressive, you could be looking to buy it up from 1.2750. A little bit safer would be if it breaks above 1.2770. Right, so you could be looking to give it a safer option would be to buy it up. No, to buy it up above 2770 or at 2770. Stop loss take profit 70 pips. Stop loss, I will have it very tight at about 30 pips or 1-2 to the upside. Let's take that away. I'll be looking to buy at 1.2770. Stop loss 30 pips, take profit back at that resistance of 70 pips. Hey, watch ops, thank you for that. Okay, that makes sense. We're looking to buy 1.2770. Stop loss was 30, take profit about 70. Okay, there we go. Again, guys, remember, disclaimers still applies. Do make sure that it fits with your own trading strategy as well. Why I'm looking at this, and you guys know that I typically wouldn't suggest trading in the middle of that support and resistance levels, but I'm looking at this as a range. So if it does continue to the upside, we could see it push up to the top of that range. Okay, so that makes sense. Then onto the euro dollar. Look at what the euro is doing, right? Big drop, consolidating right along that 1.09 level. Right, consolidating right along that 1.09 level. Very crucial level. It's because you can also see that, put that there. Right, it was a support. It tested, and now it's providing a little bit of a resistance. I'll put this whole area in there as a very tight, lack of a better word, support and resistance level. So it's in that consolidation area, right? It's right in that range there. Okay, I'll probably not call it a support or resistance. I'll just put that as an area consolidating at that point. And you can see why it's consolidating. The last time it came to this level as well. It's formed 1.09 seems to be a level that the euro dollar test, and I put that right across. You can see that it's held April. Once it broke that level, it's held. Once it broke out and we saw the big upside move. So at this point, I think that it's going to be an either or scenario on the euro dollar. I'll take this away just to highlight to you the consolidation, but at 1.09, it's break above. You could see that push up, towards that resistance of 1.10, a breakdown, and then you could see the immediate support at 1.0850, not then better support. I think a better support will be here at 1.0775. Okay, so sit there, wait it out, don't rush into this trade on the euro dollar. You can also see that it is right at that 38.2 retracement level. Two options here. If it breaks above, say about 1.0925, stop loss 30 pips, take profit, could go as high as almost 80 pips. If it breaks down, then I would say below 1.0890, 1.0890, stop loss tighter at about 30, take profit. Initial one will be at 40, or you could go as far as almost 115 to the downside, right? Even 40 would be a reasonable one to start off with. Okay, so euro dollar has a breakout opportunity. We'll be looking to buy 1.0925 with a 30 and a 70 pip take profit. 925, stop loss 30, take profit 70, or we could be looking for sell at 1.08, 1.0890, 30 pip. You could even go tighter actually. Say that you could even do a 20 pip stop loss just at that level, 20 pip to 40 pip. 0.0890, stop loss 20 pips, take profit 40 pips. Fair enough. Dollar is still consolidating at that level, still deciding what it wants to do. So don't rush into any trades. Okay. I like this. I would like to see what happens here. Naturally, I would love to see this push to the upside. Then US Swiss franc. Again, big support level here. Very immediate support at 0.89. Right, you can see it test 16th of June, and then 22nd of June looks like it's coming back down to that support level again. Resistance at, I would say that the immediate resistance will be at about that point there, right? Because we have those points, so it's tested those levels. Now, again, as we're expecting that dollar weakness to apply, then we could see this push down. But as much as I was looking at possible trade ideas on the pound dollar in the middle of the support resistance, probably, you guys know that I don't like the US Swiss franc too much. Hi, Haida, how are you doing? I might be waiting for the US Swiss franc to come down to that support before deciding. If you would like to get into a trade without waiting, then it's possibly, if it breaks below 8945, you could see it trade down to 89. 45 pip move to the downside possible, but I would probably be a little bit more patient and wait for it to see what happens first. Okay, so I'll be looking for it to come down. or for reaction along this range before deciding. Looks like it's pushing down. If it does trade down, so you could be looking for this move down. If it does break that support, the next one would be about 8825. 8860. I'll be happy with 8825 as a key support level. All right, and then if it most likely it's going to stay within this range. Most likely it's going to stay within this range. I'm looking for it to trade down. So I wouldn't do anything on the US Swiss franc. I'll be looking for it to test that 0.89 support level. Okay, look for price to test 0.89 support. Right. Cool. Next up, US CAD. Okay, remember that we do have tomorrow Canadian CPI to be released. I'll tell you more about this tomorrow during the session. So we are back tomorrow at 3 p.m. CPI year on year, median CPI year on year looking to go from 4.2 to a 4%, trimmed CPI 4.2 to a 4, common CPI year on year to go from 5.7 to 5.4. So overall looks like we're going to see a drop in inflationary growth for the Canadians, which could mean that looking at the US CAD, we might see further reinforcement of the Bank of Canada not having to raise rates. Going to sit there and wait it out, coming towards its target level. The big support level here at 1.3140. Okay, CAD has moved a lot. CAD has moved a lot. I'll do this. Looking for this move. Possibly on a bit of a contrarian view is that we might see the CAD bounce from this support level to test that downward trend line, which might also coincide with that resistance level at 1.2350. Okay, so looking at this as a resistance, but right, looking at the dollar, it's trading still in that range. If it does push up, that's going to cause this to push up. I think with that big strong downward move, maybe a better idea would be to look for it to go up, test that level before turning back down. So I would be looking at possibly waiting 1.3225, test and reject. Stop loss maybe 30 pips. Take profit could be down to 80 pips, back down. So look for it to turn up, test, and turn back down again. Okay, so US CAD, I'll be looking for a possible sell. This will be a longer wait, especially with the CPI tomorrow. So it might definitely won't be a trade today, but be something for tomorrow. 1.23, 1.3225, 1.3225, 30 pip stop, 80 pip take. Possibly something for tomorrow. More updates tomorrow. 1.23225, stop loss 30, take profit 80. Okay. And lucky last, looking at gold. Okay, so gold, look at what it's done. I'd like to get an overall view of what it's been doing. Check it on H4 time frame so I get a better idea. It's been really choppy. Gold has been really choppy there. So you just clear it up. Support level there at 1913. Next support down at 1887. I think that's reasonable. Then take profit, not take profit, resistance level. I would say that point there, just looking for those key levels at 1940 level. All right, and above that, I would say up there, way up there at 1969. Okay, so I'll be looking, so for Kenby, who was asking about gold, I think those are the levels. Big support here at 1913. Resistance at 1940. The next resistance at 1969 or almost 1970. Anticipating that dollar should weaken or might weaken. Right, we're seeing it sitting right there. Might consolidate before pushing back down. Then we could see this trade up. But what I think it could happen is that it might trade up, test, and then turn back down again. Right, so I'm possibly going to be looking for selling opportunities from 1940. Probably going to sit out, wait, look for a rejection. If it rejects 1940, you could see it trade back down to that 1913 or 1910 level, like 1910. Okay, so I would say that gold would be look for rejection of 1940 resistance to trade down to 1910. Hey Steve, good to see you again. Alrighty, so that took a little bit longer than we normally do, but that's the update for the day on the 26th of June. The dollar index, the Kiwi, the Aussie, the yen, the pound, the euro, with two opportunities either to buy or to sell. The US, look for their breakout. US Swiss franc to sit out and wait a little bit. US CAD is there. Gold possibly going to trade up before rejecting. What I would suggest to all of you is, if you haven't already, the link is there. Do join us in the Discord channel just so that you can take the discussions beyond this session. Everyone's very friendly there. So do see you in the channel. If not, then I'll see you again tomorrow, 3 p.m. GMT +8 for the daily market analysis. If you had a good session, if you found it useful and interesting, do leave a thumbs up, a rocket ship button. I'll look forward to that. If you have any feedback or comments, do reach out to me and let me know. I'm always looking to make this session a lot more better and more beneficial for you guys. With that said, trade well, trade safe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care now. Bye.